This is It's Not in the Syllabus podcast, the how-tos of a student beyond classroom walls. This is the podcast where you, yes you, get to learn what they don't teach you at school and ace that test called life, or at least get a passing grade and get by. It's Not in the Syllabus is a podcast brought to you by the Adventist International Institute of Advanced Studies, together with the Student Association, where we feature stories by the students and for the students. Join us as we discover life lessons you'll surely need. Hi everyone, welcome to the 12th episode of It's Not in the Syllabus podcast. We are towards the end of this month as we begin another year, and we're so happy to have here with us Godwin Kato. So if you allow me, I'll introduce you a little bit. So Godwin was born and raised in Uganda, and teaching is his profession, and currently he's a PhD student at the AIIAS Graduate School of Education. And today we will be talking about saying no. So thank you so much for saying yes to this, Godwin.
It's my pleasure.
Great. We've actually received several no's before we finally found a yes for this topic. So we really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
So maybe, I think, how many years have you been here in AIIAS so far?
In AIIAS, it's coming to 5 years.
5 years,
It's
wow.
coming to 5 years.
That's a long time. And I think just in that 5 years, I'm pretty sure you've had a lot of invitations, to do things, to take part, correct?
It happens
All the time?
not all the time, but it happens sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that at least for me personally, it's quite hard to say no, especially as someone who is a people pleaser. It's really a difficulty. And I'm hoping, and I think I will be learning a lot from this episode myself. Maybe you can share us any experience that you've had with regards to saying no. And do you even think it's important in the first place?
Oh, thank you for that question, as well as the kind introduction. Yes, it is good to learn to say no.
Okay.
The reason is that we are social beings and we are accountable for our actions in the first place, and also we are accountable to those we relate with. So that makes it important to learn how to say no. Yeah.
Yeah, accountability is the big word, right?
Yeah.
And have you had any experience so far with regards to saying no? Did it actually work or did it backfire towards you? Yeah, maybe you can share.
It has happened several times, but I would mention one that did not at least backfire.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember it was in elementary school. Yeah, I attended public schools for that level, and what used to happen was the Sabbath demands. Of course, as you would expect with a public school. We used to be required to come for school on Saturday, have exams on Saturday, and that had its own twist to us as Seventh-day Adventists.
And I think that's even harder because that's saying no to authority. That's not just saying no to a colleague or to someone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So what happened, one day, we had this teacher who certainly became so enraged about our absence from school on Saturday. But then we realized that what we had to do was to make our point simple to him, that we do not attend school on Sabbath because it's the Lord's Day, and that's what we believe. So I can say that was the how of doing it, of saying no to Sabbath demands from the school. Yeah.
Okay. And I think from that experience, on how to say no is really starting from yourself and what you really believe in. Because as a Seventh-day Adventist, you were strong about your beliefs that this is a non-negotiable. And I think if you have that set in your mind, it makes it easier for you to decline things, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I would like to add something on that, about that experience, that at the end of it all, this teacher, he became the person supervising exams for Seventh-day Adventist students now on a Sunday.
Wow.
So in that way, learning not to enter into hot debates with him, helped us to overcome the whole situation. But of course, I cannot rule out the presence of God in the whole picture. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And I think you're already answering my second question, which has something to do with in the Christian context, saying no may be seen like as a negative thing, right? But I guess in what you just shared, it could work towards you. So what do you think about that? What do you think about people who think that it's not okay, Christians should be nice, they should always say yes? Yeah, is it okay to do so?
It's Christian. It's Christian to say no.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I like that.
Because in the first place, God gave us the power of choice. So saying no or yes is the way we practice that freedom. Then in the second place, if we look at what one of the gospel writers, John, wrote about Christ, if we look at John chapter 6, I think it's verse 38, where Christ says that I came to do the will of my Father. So that implies that as long as something was against the will of God, Christ could not do it. And that, in other words, implies that it was a no, and it's okay to say no.
Yeah, and I think what also makes it difficult for some people, so we have already established that it's okay and it's a good thing, and in some cases we must say no. What makes it hard is that we tend to have a thought that the other person on the receiving end, whoever is inviting, would take it negatively, right? But personally, I don't think that, saying no has to be a negative experience. There's always a way where you can decline, but in a nice way, right? Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yes, it's important to know how to say no. Yeah. Usually, if you look at some of our cultures, saying no is a kind of disrespect. But then learning how to say it, brings things to a better level. Yes.
Yeah. And especially in AIIAS, where we have such a diverse culture, saying no can be in different forms in different cultures, right?
Yeah.
A person who is coming from a straightforward individualistic culture can sometimes, for them, it's easy to say no, right? I can't do it. No. But then for Asians, it could be a little bit tricky. And then sometimes the way we say it is, maybe next time, or I'll see, which is technically a no. Yeah. How about in your culture?
Yeah, in my culture, it also happens. Yeah, but of course, with the influence of globalization, things are changing. But in those days, saying no was just hard. Just like I said before, it was seen as a sign of disrespect. And besides that, sometimes we even don't want to rather we want to please people by saying yes to whatever they demand from us, which is not really healthy. Because as long as something takes away a part of your mind that's not really devoted to that, then it's not healthy. It's not healthy at all.
So it's not gonna good. It's not gonna be good for you as the person, and even to the person on the receiving end, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And from what you said, I just thought that how do you think a person can actually determine the boundary between healthily saying yes and healthily saying no?
Wow.
Do you think that even
Yeah.
exists? That
Yeah.
boundary even exists?
I would say yes, and I would say no.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I also want to put this forward first that situations differ. Yeah, people differ. Even situations that need to say a yes or a no, they differ. So that calls for divine wisdom to be able to understand when to say yes and when to say no. Yeah, but still, I can share a few points of
Okay,
of
yes.
how to determine that boundary. One is to really develop the love for God and the love for people. Now, how do you develop the love of God? It's one of the ways is staying in tune with Him, and if you stay in tune with God, He opens up your mind, to be able to discern what needs to be done when. Then getting to inculcating the love for people. It's important to take time to listen to people, get to know them, understand them, and by that it can enable you to know what is best for them. But of course, it's preceded by being in tune with God, who helps us to, who opens our minds in different situations. Then I also want to add.
Actually, before you go to your second point, I think you brought up a really important thing, which is, setting that relationship with the Lord to determine and discern when is when, which actually means that for a person who is maybe deciding between an opportunity or an invitation, whatever it may be, that they have a choice to say yes or no to, the first person or thing, I mean not thing, sorry, the first thing that they should do is go to the Lord, and not, because we humans, we have a tendency to be like, I have a decision, okay, let me ask my friend, my best friend, so it's important that you've established seeking wisdom from God. Continue to your second point.
Oh yes. My second point is that in these situations, rather in trying to determine the boundary of healthily saying no or yes, it's also important to utilize that concept of delay. Now, I'm talking about delay in the positive way.
Okay.
Yeah, there are times when you really have time to delay your response in terms of a yes or a no. So if it's there, utilize it. Delaying helps to give you time to think through the options that you might be having. It also gives you an opportunity, like to seek advice from different people. So in that way you can come up with a well thought idea or a conclusion on whether to say no or to say yes in a healthy manner.
And I think it's very important to be addressed, because I know personally, and even I was in that position before, that okay, I'm a Christian, so for example, every time I'm requested to do things, let's say for the ministry, it must be an automatic yes. Why are you even thinking about it? Because it's for the Lord, so you must just say yes. But at the end of the day, we are humans, and we are not born to be superhuman, being able to do everything. So I think it is, of course, with good intentions we say yes, right? We want to help, but if you think about it also, like what you said, having that love for others, making them think that if you actually said yes to everything they ask, what would maybe one would be sacrificed because then you won't have enough time for the other one, right? Or maybe you have been doing this thing all the time when someone else's talents and skills could actually be maximized instead. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's also something that we can take note of.
Yeah, it's helpful. It's helpful. Actually, somebody said that at times we need to say no. Yeah, just to create space for other people to perform. Yeah. Actually, it's what you said. Yeah, to say no, it's not bad. It creates room for other people to get into the way and perform, and actually, sometimes do the job more than than the person who said no.
And in terms of, so for example, you've already established that, okay, this is a time where you just need to say no. Like you have determined, what do you think would be a way to politely, nicely say no?
The polite way to say no. Yeah, one of the ways would be to follow it, to say no with gratitude.
Okay.
If I could say, for instance, if you invited me and I said, and my answer was a no, it would not be good if I
just said no.
No, that wouldn't be good. At least, saying, thank you for the opportunity, but I cannot make it. That makes the delivery of the no a little bit softer and bearable. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I've read, they call it the sandwich method. You know how the bun, the patty, and another bun. So the bun are like the good things. Yeah. So maybe the thank yous, you start with appreciating the person, and then you say, oh, sorry, I can't go because I'm busy, but, and then you end with a good note again, which is, but I'd like to make time for it, maybe next month or something like that. So at least it leaves the other person,
that's right.
not
That's
feeling
right.
so bad.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's right.
So thank you so much for sharing all of this interesting things and reminders for us whenever we say no. So it is important, and you can always do it in a polite, nice way. So if there's one thing that you'd like to leave out to our listeners, would there be anything that really stood out that you would like them to take away from this episode?
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, I would like to read a few statements here. They are from Erin Etaf. She's an occupational psychologist. In trying to help people capture those moments when they can say no, she gave some questions that I can ask myself, that you can ask yourself as our viewers. Number one is, do I have time and energy to do this thing? That's important to ask yourself. Then also, am I doing this to please someone? If you're trying to please someone, it's better you say no more, and that taps more in our Christian context, right? Yeah, sometimes we want to please people, yet the motive should be to please God. Then lastly, I won't read all that is, but the last one I can read is that, do I need time to rest and recharge? Yeah, many times we really need time to rest, recharge. Yeah, so in such moments, it's important to say no. That's it.
Wow. Yeah. Powerful questions that I hope our viewers have taken note of. So I'm really, really happy, Godwin, for joining us for this episode and for sharing us about learning how to say no. And to our listeners, I hope you have learned a thing or two, and we also hope to see you in the next episode. In case you have anything, suggestion, comments, or feedback, we would like to hear them. You can comment them and let us know. So see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.